Main host. Oh, should I start again? Hello, everyone. I'm Victoria, and I will be your co-host today. And Sake will be your main host. Many of you know me, but actually I don't know some of you, so I'll briefly introduce myself. Um, I've known Sake for a while now, and I've been working with him for a couple of years. I come from a writing background. I studied script writing in school, and I helped Sake write the curriculum, as well as many other things. And I love the work that I do here. I love the community that I'm a part of, the relationship that I get to develop with the Power Course participants, which is a relationship of mutual support and commitment towards bettering ourselves. So I love my work, which is why I'm super excited that you're here with us and that you decided to join us on this Sunday morning or evening for some of you. So before we have an amazing plan, we have an amazing event planned for you. But before we get started, I'm just going to go over a couple of few things so that the event runs smoothly. Number one, please remember to mute yourself when you are not speaking. That way there is no unnecessary background noise when someone else is speaking. Number two, please use the chat box responsibly. So if you have any questions, any technical difficulties, please message me directly or Maria, and we will be able to help you. And last thing is that we will be taking a break sometime midway around 11. So you can use that time for whatever it is that you need. So you will have a break midway. And lastly, before we get started, I want to encourage you to be bold and courageous today. I imagine that you came here because something that we said or Sake said touched you. So I encourage you to take full responsibility of this marvelous opportunity you have here, and be vulnerable and authentic and share. And don't be shy, don't be nervous, even though we're all a little bit, but we're all friends here. We're all meeting each other, and we're all here for the same purpose. So let's be courageous. Sakib has carefully reviewed all of your messages. If you left a message while you were registering, Sakib has reviewed all of them, but he will not be able to get to all of you maybe today. So I also encourage you that when he's coaching someone, that you listen very carefully and see what you get out of their coaching for yourself. It's another way of participating, but still participating. Also, I'm sorry, I'm going a bit fast, but also if we miss a topic today that you wanted to talk about and that's important to you, please let me know, or Maria, and I will make sure to note it down so we will cover it in a future seminar or another future event we hold. Okay, that's it for me. Without further ado, here's Sake.
Okay. All right. Wow. Look at that. Bonnie, welcome. Filippo, Najib, welcome, welcome. Wow, what a treasure it is. Good job, Victoria. So, hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. Why have we invited you here? We have invited you here to make your 2022 New Year career resolutions, or if you have already made them, share them with us, and maybe we can say something that might be useful. The truth is that any time is a good time to set these resolutions. What really matters is that we use this as an opportunity to do important work together, right? We are at this moment at an interesting time. Our world is changing. We have gone through now 2 years of this epidemic. Our way of working is changing. Change represents us with an opportunity for the reconfiguration of power and the opportunity for bringing forth our best self. So this is a great opportunity for us to look at what is it that we are dealing with within our lives. What do we care about? What is our business? What is our commitment? And what do we want to really create in the world? What do we want, what legacy we want to leave, and what we perceive to be our greatest challenge. Because just setting goals that I'll accomplish this and this and this without standing in relationship to care and commitment to some breakdown, to some people, they don't really matter. They become like nothing. All the goals that we set just for ourselves, they don't have a context. You will get exhausted and give up on your tasks. Or we don't make goals big enough. We make small goals, live in smallified versions. If you're driving with willpower alone, willpower can only take you so far. So when you make a commitment to some community, to some people, to care for them, to bring new resolutions, you have belonging. Your belonging gives you a place to stand. Belonging is the secret of power. Another important aspect that we promised you to talk about career, let me say a couple of things about career. What is career? Career is about acquiring the competency and commitment to produce value for some people. Oftentimes, we think of career as fancy titles or our hobbies and passions and the likes and dislikes and so on and so forth. That's not career. Career is not like a group of hobbies or a really good way of making money. Career is a commitment to care for some people, to some community, to provide some value for some people. In exchange of that value, you receive value back, like you make livelihood upon which your self-esteem and your dignity depends. The commitment that really matter is the one that you make to take care of someone. If you don't have the role of care in your commitments and you just want to achieve things for yourself, that's a limited self. Your commitment and your belonging gives you a much larger step. It gives you a bigger place to stand. So let's talk a little bit about breakdowns, right? What happens as we are setting up big goals? Breakdowns occur. Breakdowns are inevitable in the process of living, process of executing your tasks, process of whatever you're dealing with. You're bound to run into some breakdowns every now and then. If you have made a commitment to care for some people, for some community, you will deal with those breakdowns. You would learn the skills that you need to deal with those breakdowns. If you're missing some skills, you'd learn those skills. If you're missing a network, you'll build the network. If you're missing some resources like money and funding, you will go get those or learn how to get those. But if all you're doing is to prove yourself, then you're playing a small game. Many of us are trapped in this dogma of having to prove ourselves. One of the major breakdowns is that we don't know what to do with our careers in this changing era. We don't know how to move. The old job titles, the old categories of work, the old categories of job, all of those things are disappearing right now. That doesn't mean that human beings, our needs, our dissatisfactions have gone away. Career is built by standing in the world of other people's concerns, other people's dissatisfactions. The biggest breakdown in career that we are facing right now, that all these old style jobs for most people are not working. Either people are not able to get those jobs, or people are not happy with those jobs. I think I read it in Wall Street Journal a couple of weeks ago, something like 4 million women in the last 12 months have just quit their jobs. Not that they couldn't find job or just quit the jobs. People don't want to work. People are leaving their jobs without a reason because there's a deep dissatisfaction. People don't want to be enslaved anymore. And when they think about when you just leave and you think about creating something new, many people are finding themselves ungrounded. So how do we ground ourselves? So let's talk a little bit about, we also said that will help you. I think the person that was asking the question is not here, but that's okay. Let's talk a little bit about business model, the heart of your business, the heart of your offer. That's number one. Who's the customer segment? Who are the people? Start your business model, whatever you're going to do, start by Who are the people, who's the niche community of people, doesn't have to be small, could be quite large, could be global, could be local, could be intellectually created. These days we are all these Zoom beings, where we are in the world. As long as you have good internet connection, we are connected. We are having a new meaning about what it means to be human being, what it means to belong to each other. If you say, well, I am for all human beings, fine, we got your ethical stand and it's beautiful, and me too, but you're not being real. You're being a little bit, you're dislocated from your belonging. You're leaving something on the table. You don't have belonging. So say more clearly, where are you going to start? What's your starting point? Who are the people that you're caring about or you're going to care about? What is the breakdown? What is the dissatisfaction those people are facing? And what is your offer to take care of those breakdowns? Okay, I think that that is plenty rambling, just to trigger some thinking, just to get some conversation and thinking started. Let us let's begin. Say a little bit who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself. If you share, when you share, what is all this provoking for you? What are you up against? And what challenges you're facing? Where in your career and business do you feel trapped or experience powerlessness? What else? Where in your career, business, you would like to see growth and a breakthrough? Anything else, Victoria? Are these good questions? Should we start here?
Good questions.
Okay, good questions. All right, let's start there. So who wants to begin? We need a courageous and a brave soul, the first drop to jump right in. Bonnie. Bonnie, you're mute though. We are good. Some of us are good lip readers. Some of us are not. So you're going to have to. There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm sitting here in New York City. Oh my God, I love what you just said, and I took notes. You said belonging is the secret of career. Then I wrote, I don't need to prove myself. And then you said, how do we move in this changing life? And then you said, career is standing in the world of other people's concerns. Oh, that is so brilliant. And then you said, how do we ground ourselves? And then you said, how is the heart of my offer? And I am, everybody, I just want to, I'm a former travel agent for 30 years. I have 3 books that are published. I'm 82 years young and I love it. And sometimes I lie and say I'm 80, but I'm really 240s. So there's a part of myself that says, I don't have to prove myself anymore. But the thing is, I'm looking now for the next, my fellow just left and he said, Bonnie, where's the fire in your belly? And what I've done, just to share with you all, because I see that you're all so much younger than I am, I have been writing a newspaper column in Northern Ontario, Canada. I moved up there when I was 49 years old. I became engaged to a fellow and I was a New York travel agent. And it was like, God, I couldn't step out of the farmhouse. I was a New York City girl living right off Park Avenue, had been a travel agent. I couldn't take a step out of the farmhouse because the snow was 6 feet high. And I said, how can I be successful in one realm of life and such a beginner in another? And so I wrote this newspaper column to the big newspaper and said, oh my God, I'm such a beginner and I'm 49 going on 50. And they laughed. The editor said, I don't want to make this too long. And I said, we laughed at you, Bonnie, because you were so honest. Can you give us 12 more newspaper columns about how you put the car in the ditch and how you fell how you fell off the dock when you were fishing? And I said, oh, I can make 12 more. I said, that was 30 years ago, new friends. So I've been writing, even though based in New York City, about my friends in Northern Ontario, a city called Sudbury and an island called Manitoulin. it keeps me going right now. I'm not a travel agent anymore, but I love finding out about other people. And when you said career is standing in the world of other people's concerns, that's exactly it. When I can interview somebody up in Canada or here in New York, or the concerns, it keeps me in the loop of life. And now someone said to me, well, we should think you should pick out the 30 best columns of the last 30 years. And I go, I can't do that. It would take me 3 years. I start reading a column and then it's 4 days later. I can't go back. I have to go forward. So I'm stuck in that. And then one of my advisors said, Bonnie, write something new. And I said, but I don't have the fire in my belly to write something new. So here, accept my columns. So hello, everybody. I don't want to take too long, but I'm glad to look at all of your beautiful faces. Okay, I'm done.
Okay. Well, what a lovely start. Thank you for your blessings.
Oh, please.
What a pleasure it is to have you. I don't know if you have asked a question, but I think that you're struggling a little bit with what's next. And I think
That's
that
exactly right. What is next?
I am not alone in detecting that people should hear your voice. In addition to your writing, perhaps consider starting a podcast or something. You'd be a great interviewer. You'd be a great speaker. We would all benefit from your, and yes, no, please don't get stuck for 3 years. 3 years, we cannot have Bonnie stuck in trying to pick the best column for 3 years.
No, 30.
Well, 30 years of columns and 3 years stuck for selecting them, right? So, Bonnie,
and I could hire you, and you could do it for me.
And you have a deep background. You are no spring chicken about the work of transformation. You have a deep background in transformation. You have studied with important people. Many of the teachers I studied with,
yes,
you have studied with those teachers. And so we are in a weird time right now. So it would be lovely to hear voices that have seen many weathers, many seasons. Yes. What would be the one advice if you were to give to the young people here? What would that be? Short though, then we move to next. But what would be the one thing that you would say, this is what you need to do to navigate, to survive and thrive and build brilliant careers in the times that are coming?
This is it. Keep working hard at your craft. Nothing comes easy. So when you need to learn, keep learning and it will happen.
Okay.
Don't give up.
Okay. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you. Very nice. Big round of applause for Bonnie, please.
Thank you, Bonnie.
Good work. Thank you.
I have put the questions we have asked also in the chat box for you guys to see.
Okay. Maybe I can go next.
Najib.
Yeah, my story is not as exciting as Bunny's story, and I think I don't have much to share to others. I will focus more on my inspiration and where I am stuck. Actually, I am a developer, software developer, and I'm working in industry in Amsterdam. I started really good, but from some time I'm really stuck to progress, to move, and to go at higher level in my career. And the thing is, I'm not really able to learn a lot of new stuff. I'm doing good in day-to-day life, but every time I make a small goal for me, then I am not able to achieve that, just because I start thinking about other stuff, my personal things. And from last few months, I realized that if I will just finish my personal stuff first, and then maybe I would be able to focus more on career. And the personal stuff that I also wrote in my introduction at the registration form, and that was that I should first do the language, because I'm living in a country where the language is not as my local mother tongue, and also not the English. So I decided to first give it a go and achieve a basic level, which is also required for a lot of administration and stuff. And then maybe I will be in position to focus more to achieve some career goals.
Hmm.
And the
Where are
other
you?
thing that, sorry,
Where are you? Are you in China?
no, I'm in Amsterdam, in
You're in
Netherlands.
Amsterdam. I see.
Yeah.
And English is not the main language.
No,
Dutch.
they're Dutch. Yeah.
Dutch. Mhm.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is important for to get the like PR, these kind of stuff. Although in our work environment we use English as a medium of communication,
Okay.
but
So work environment, you use English as a communication,
yeah,
and you are speaking in perfect English, that you don't speak perfect English. So I got that. Hmm? You explained it very well. Anyone here that was not able to understand Najib? Hmm. Okay. So
okay, thank you very much.
what brought you to Amsterdam, Najib?
I got my master's here, so I continue to work here. And again, the decision to do my master's here in Netherlands was that because English is not really a bad language here. So many people understand English. Many companies work in English. So that's why I choose Delft to do my master's, and then after I started working.
Hmm. And what are you working? What are you doing?
I'm working as a software developer.
Software developer. Okay. Well, Najib, it seems that you're having a great life. You're having a life of an adventurer. Hmm? It's a large life. You're born somewhere else. You are working somewhere else. You speak at least 2 or 3 languages. If I venture to guess, maybe 4.
Yeah.
You must speak a little bit. But you have an interpretation of yourself that you are nothing, or you're a small thing. What is that song by Queen comes to mind? I'm just a poor boy. I'm just a poor boy. So you're singing this anthem that I'm just a poor boy. And this is costing you your power. So first thing I recommend that you develop a little bit of a belonging. If you're in a new country, you're married, you have children.
Yes, I have one kid.
You have
I
one
got
kid.
married
Okay.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, to a Pakistani woman, Indian woman?
Pakistani woman.
Pakistani woman. Okay. Well, I was going to suggest that if you have not married, then maybe integrate locally, huh? Belonging is the secret of power. So participate in local.
Yeah.
You're doing very well, but you have a story that I'm not doing very well. You see, all kinds of depression is caused by thinking about yourself. If you make it your goal that first I have to improve myself and then I have to do other things, then that's a trap. Don't get trapped there. Pay attention to where you are, what's going on, who's your community. You're in a fantastic country. You're in a fantastic, rich, old culture. You have come from a fantastic, rich, old culture. So building a little bit mood of a joy about what you're doing and the work that you're doing. Notice when you say, I'm just a software developer. Well, mamma mia, just software developers are taking over the world. Some of the world's wealthiest people are just software developers. Being a software developer is no small game. Designing a software is about the design of a human being. See, human being is a being of technology. We live in a technology. We cannot live without our technologies. Without technology, there is no human being. There is no human being you can go out in the world ever in the history that you can find and say that human being did not have technology. Our clothes being the first technology, our language itself being the primary technology. So as you're engaged in the business of creating technology, you're engaged in the business of designing the human beings of the future. Now look at this kind of beings that we are today. Without this technology, would this be possible? Would we be the same human beings? Are you the same human being without your iPhone or Android or Windows Mobile? Oh, I think that thing has gone away. Whatever, Samsung or you are, we are not. So you need a new orientation about who you are. You need a new story about who you are. You have created a story about yourself, about who you are. I don't learn quickly. I don't do this. So we're not going to do this right now. You're welcome to make some time with me. We need to investigate a little bit what is causing this. And this is not a new story. This is an old story. Perhaps when you were young, somebody told you this story, something happened, and you made a decision. That's it. I am not good enough. But that story will not deliver you a remarkable power, huh? So next time when you speak with me, say a little bit about what is your ambition, for the sake of what you're moving countries, for the sake of what you're living. See, human being is the kind of animal that gives meaning to its own life. So take responsibility, full responsibility. It's not anyone else's responsibility to give meaning to your own life. Okay, that's good for now. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
With pleasure, with pleasure. Thank you for being with us and nice to meet you.
Thanks. Same here.
Okay. All right. Who's next? AZ, please.
Hi, everyone. Pleasure meeting all of you. When Najib mentioned that he's a software developer, Najib, that's how I started out as well. And I have a hard time saying that I am a software developer because I'm a student. I'm learning. I've always been learning. I'm still learning. And I don't believe I intend to stop learning. So if anything, if there is one thing that I would say that I am, it is a student. As such, the challenge that I'm facing is finding where my passion is. And I loved how Bonnie encapsulated it as the statement. And that was, where is a fire in my belly? I love that way of stating it. The fire in my belly is solving problems, is really, solving problems for myself and problems that I see for others. And as such, I'm an entrepreneur and I've taken on a very big problem that I would love to solve. But that is something that I've put on the back burner because the current breakdown that I'm facing, that I have been facing, is that I've become a really good consultant. I've become a really good problem solver who comes in, assesses the situation, identifies the risks, and finishes the job that was given to me, like really executes the job and sort of like a glorified cab driver. I shouldn't say it, but it is, right? And in the process also identifies other risks and brings them to my management and solves them to the extent possible. But I have noticed that in the past decade, I have become really good at coming in and solving problems and not yet as good at building the relationships that would transform my consulting engagements into full-time work. So the breakdown that I'm facing, and I'm starting a wonderful consulting engagement later this month at Meta, in reincarnation of Facebook. And that's again a concern of mine. I'm starting in a contract to hire role, and I may not necessarily agree with the goals of the company, but hey, it's a job and it pays the bills, and it enables me to learn about a completely new organization that I haven't worked in. So I'm not sabotaging myself, but my focus, so what I'm up against is the challenge of how to take an engagement and to convert it into the game of being a full-time employee, where I have the financial benefits, the medical benefits, the stock options, vacations that a person in a full-time job has. So that's where my current concern is, and that's my reason for attending this course, this workshop. Just earlier, I had a session with one of my co-students in the Power course, a younger friend from Pakistan, and guiding him about his career choice and getting into what he's thinking of, programming and all. So I'm not in a place right now where I have to decide whether program management is my sweet spot or product management. I've got a wonderful program management role that I'm starting. The breakdown that I'm facing is, how do I take the game that I'm playing from a level of, here I am here to help solve your problems, to, hey, AZ, you're someone we want on board, and we're willing to make the commitment of making you a full-time employee. So that's where I am. And, there's not a particular immediate problem to solve. I'm happy to see how others deal with their challenges, and we can come back to it. I don't know what we can do about changing this situation. So I hope that encapsulates where I am.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Silicon Valley, North San Jose. So the heart of the
California,
information.
US.
Yes, Silicon Valley, North San Jose. Yeah. And I'm from Pakistan, grew up in 8 countries on 4 continents, spent 12 years of my life in Pakistan, about 18 in other countries, and the remainder in the US, and I'm 50 now. So more than 20 years in the US, probably more than 25.
And if you come to New York City, where I live, I would like to buy you lunch.
Wonderful. Yeah, I have dear friends in New York. I used to come once a year. I haven't in the last 2, but yeah, thank you, Bonnie. I'd love to meet up. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you haven't asked any question, or I think that you asked a couple of questions, but you answered them yourself. So there isn't much meat on the bones for us to chew on, but let me just, let me say, carefully look at what is your commitment. Being a problem solver is not enough. Problem solver is like a tool. It's like taking stuff that is out there and matching with what you already know and see what the good match is. But for the sake of what though? Right now you have a concern, and it's a fair concern, that I want to be more comfortable. That's okay. I think that you will soon address that concern. You'll be more comfortable. And then so what? And then soon enough, that will start being boring, right? What you have not really confronted, AZ, head on is that you're bored. And you keep yourself occupied with all manners of running around. Your speaking, it reflects a certain kind of inner state. You are highly, you're well-read, you're highly educated traditionally, and reading yourself. So you're not really we can't say that you are a Philistine or something. You're not ignorant, you are highly educated. So what is this rambling about? Rambling, it's not some kind of a personal failing or something like this. No, it is that you are madly searching for what to love. So now you're already you've just begun in a program with me. This is first month, second month, you're in a program with me. So put that in your pipe and smoke it and see what happens. Okay, thank you, AZ. Big round of applause for AZ, please. All right. Dr. Najam, are we going to hear from you a little bit? I don't see you, I don't hear from you, and I am missing you. There you are, the man in the matrix. So please say a little bit about yourself, and please.
So hello, everyone. I guess I've known Saqib for a couple of days, a little more than that. That's just an inside joke, but it has been over almost 30 years now. So my background is basically, I would say, IT. Gone through different stages of in my career, different kinds of job. What Najib was saying, I've been just a software developer, or any QA or project manager or things of that nature. I've also been on the academic side as a adjunct professor in a university. Just recently finished my PhD, so all that has been going on. So life has been pretty exciting. I I always say that 30 years ago, if I would have planned my life, I couldn't have planned it the way it turned out. So it has been an adventure. Every day I look forward to what's going to unfold. So that's great. What I'm looking for right now, I'm seeing that I have at this point I'm looking at things that money is not my primary drive, should not be my primary driver. I want to look at things of what I can do, what's going to be my legacy, and what kind of things I want to achieve. So I have different things. It's like different maps in front of me, and I'm looking at them and trying to see, okay, which map do I pick up and which destination I'm going to select. That's where I am. I don't know if that's. I think I covered
yes. It's
pretty
good.
much. That's where I am right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. Najam and I attempted to start, maybe we did start many years ago, a comedy radio show, a talk show. Najam and I thought that our career will be comedy radio show hosts, much in the style of those Car Talk brothers, huh? Click and clack. Those plans didn't work out. So you're in Washington, D.C. right now, just to locate where Najam is. Najam is in Washington, D.C. Look, Najam, you have a tremendous capacity and a big heart. You care deeply about human beings. You care deeply about the country of your birth, and you care deeply about the country that you have adopted. And you have proven yourself. You have done everything there is to do, and you're a remarkable intellectual. Now, you're asking the question of legacy, and it's very good. It's the right question. It is the right question. How legacy is created? Legacy cannot be created by proving a little more, right? You already got that. Legacy cannot be created. Legacy is created by first declaring your commitment of service to some community. And I'm not talking about like a nonprofit style. It could be a community of scientists or any community that has a breakdown that they may be resigned about, but you see it. You have a great perception. So these maps that are in front of you, here is a map that put that together or juxtapose that with other maps. That what are the breakdowns? What are the dissatisfactions? What community, what people, what suffering that grips you? Now, at first it may grip you, and then you make a promise. And the kind of promise you make is not like in the moment you make a promise and something better comes along and then you make a promise there and so on and so forth. It's the kind of promise that like the kind of promise the founding fathers of the United States made in the Declaration of Independence. It's just a document. It wasn't a description of independence. They didn't go out and go ahead and get free. And then they said, I think we should write a nice document about that should encapsulate exactly what we have done. No, the declaration was made first. A commitment was made first of who you be in care of what. And most times when you are making such a commitment, you are committing to fight some monstrosity, some terribleness that gets taken for granted, that's just how things are. As you pick your monster, and in a sense, you have to design your monster. You design your monster, you pick what monsters you're going to fight, and in fighting such a monstrosity, you become a legend. You cannot become a legend for yourself. Trying to create legacy will not create legacy. What will create legacy is that a big capacity guy like you, a world traveler, world global access guy, deep education, deep background, great networks, You have networks all the way up to the prime ministers of countries. I won't reveal too much here. You're a big guy in the world, and you've gotten a lot done. You've gotten a lot accomplished. What are you going to take on now? What monstrosity, what tragedy, what terribleness that you may say, and you don't just take it on by yourself. You don't want to create that in a vacuum. You want to create that definitely in conversations with your networks, with your allies, with your mentors, with your coaches. Give me an opportunity. I've been asking you to do that for some time. Give me an opportunity to help you articulate what would your monster be? What would your fight be? You're essentially a warrior that hasn't picked a fight. So you get into a lot of little skirmishes. The warrior can say, right? So they are fun. They are fun. You get little wars, but it's time that you step back and look at your strategic board and see what fight am I going to fight. And a long-term commitment. Is that good enough? Does that at least open some?
Yeah, that's good. I think I can resonate with that. Yeah, I have to look a little closer.
Yeah,
what is it that I'm going to commit myself to? But talking about just a final comment that maybe we should have started that comedy show. It would have been nice. Two bald guys.
It would have been nice. It's never too late though.
Two bald guys doing something.
Well, we weren't bald at that time. At least
Right.
I wasn't.
Yeah.
I had a big afro, big head of hair at that time.
Yeah, you were late to the baldness, but that's
Late
okay.
to the, and maybe we are a lot funnier now than we were at that time. Life has a way of beating you, and if we can laugh about the beatings, then we have comedy. Okay, I look forward to speaking more with you. The question you're asking is very serious. Look, I have known you for a while, so the tendency that I'm afraid that you may have, okay, I have a concern or a fear that you may try to do this by yourself. You're a self-sufficient guy. You're an independent-minded guy. And you may try to pick this mission, this fight, this breakdown, your monster all by yourself. So be careful there. Just a little warning that to engage with people that can help you. See, intelligence, my teacher, Fernando Flores, often says, where is Rumi here? Fernando Flores says, intelligence is not in the head. Intelligence is in conversations. So when you talk to people, concernful conversations with people that are also concerned about you, about the world, about the state of the community, state of communities that you're concerned with, then you have the possibility of inventing a new world. And I am thrilled at the prospect that I may contribute to the unfolding of that legend. And then when you look back, then you become a legend in taking on what you take on. Trying to be a legend, trying to build a legacy, for sure will get you more accomplishments, but will not build a legacy. Okay. Thank you, Najam.
Thank you.
Big round of applause for Joji. Oh, nickname Joji, Najamul Hassan. Big round of applause. Thank you.
I just posted a question for Najam if he would like, maybe if he can answer.
What is your question?
I posted in the chat because as he said, as I said that he just completed his PhD. So I want to know his ambition and motivation, why he decided to start PhD in after so long gap. Because I am in my 30s and sometimes I think.
I'm going to interrupt. I apologize. No it's a good question. And I recommend that the two of you exchange emails and numbers through the chat and take that on. We have a short time and I want to make sure that everyone gets the opportunity to speak, but that's a good question. Okay. All right. Very good, Najib.
Thanks.
Leah, please. You're on.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
You're breaking up a little
Okay.
bit. No, we don't hear you. You're breaking up a little bit.
So
Leah, can you hear us?
I
No, I don't think.
questions and my career and my lifestyle are so intertwined. Oh no.
Leah,
Okay.
we are not able to really grasp
Let me
what you're
try
saying.
to connect to the
Okay, let's come back to you one after next. See if you can change the location or use a different network or something like this. Okay. Who else is next? Sylvia, what's on your mind?
Hello. Well,
Hello, Sylvia.
first, thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm very happy to meet you all and to share with you what is going on in my mind. So, okay, where to start? I in the middle of Corona, I finished my university, and then I was in Europe, and then my mom told me like she was not gonna finance my life there anymore. So I came back to Colombia, where I am from, and I had no choice then to prove myself because I was so scared of not being like good enough, or like I wanted to prove myself that I can actually do something for myself, to take responsibility, as you said. And so that's what I did. In the middle of it was literally like I felt like knocking doors. Like I asked people like, what are you doing? And I don't know, I started with an architect, a neighbor, like she was living in my neighborhood. I built her a web page, and I started doing funnels, and I started asking people like, what you need, I can do it for you. And that's how I end up creating my agency. So I right now have a creative agency. I do social media management. I finally kind of was able to move out of my house again. So that was a big goal for me. Like then I wanted to scale my agency. I was sending so many proposals a day, and it was stuck for like 3 months. Like nothing happened, and I wouldn't give up. I talked to people, and nothing happened. One day I was so scared because I felt like I was running out of money, and I didn't want to go back, like I was living with my boyfriend, and I didn't want not to be responsible of myself. So I got a job as a lead agent. So for the ones who don't know what a lead agent is, we basically do like appointment settings. Well, that's what I did for 5 months. But I didn't want to so I entered to this big company, a startup, growing crazy, and I wanted to grow inside the company. So I asked my boss, like I wanted to be in the meetings with her. I wanted to know how she closed deals. I wanted to learn a lot about sales. So that's what I did. And at one point she told me like, you know what, you just take the calls, and I trust you. And I closed some deals, good deals. So they promoted me. And in that same month, they also make me project manager for like affiliate a program they have in the company. So they basically like raised my salary, and like and then that same month I closed another 3 clients for my agency, and everything just went like, after being stuck and like not seeing like, I don't know, Bonnie said like working hard, and I was working hard, like I was doing everything. And right now I feel things are just going up. I think things are really good, but I don't know my why. Like of course, it's kind of a survival mode. Like you don't want to be left without money, but I don't know like why. Like I don't know what is the change I want to do in the world. I know there has to be a purpose, because I don't want to be a robot. I don't want to wake up and do things. And of course it motivates me, like like money and being able to save, and at some point helping my family. Like I have a little cousin and I've been helping her, and it makes me so happy, but I still don't know my why. And that's where I am.
Okay, very good. And where are you right now? I know this, but just for the community, say where you are.
I am in Medellin, Colombia.
Colombia. Very
Yeah.
good, very good.
I work remotely for, like right now I'm an account executive for California. Like I managed these areas, so, but I'm here in Colombia.
Very good. Sylvia, you have already learned this, that you are remarkably talented, and you've proven this to yourself. Whatever you're going to put your hand in, you're going to do okay, more than okay. So now it's time to choose. And it's not that the world, now it may appear that we live in the world, but there is no like a singular world that we live in. We live in many worlds. Each one have their own world. So first is to be where you are and see which world you're in. And I don't just mean like local Colombian world. You're in the world of the Y Combinator graduates. You're in the world of small businesses. You're in this world. So your main concern right now, how to grow your power. Your main concern right now, how to grow your power. Now you're very young, so it's not that big of a risk. But if you don't commit to some people, some community, some concern, it may be if you want to grow your marketing agency, you commit to the care of small local businesses. Let's just say coffee growers. You say that I help coffee growers triple their sales or something. Or I help coffee growers get more clients or something, or I help small businesses do this. So sketch out your world a little bit, what world that you are willing to care about. Then
I want to say something. Sorry that my computer is running out of battery. I know something for sure. Sorry, I know something for sure in this, that in my agency, I have a designer, right? She's helping me right now because I cannot take care of all the clients alone right now that the agency is growing as well. And so I'm outsourcing most of my work to kids, like, they're 18, 19, like learning stuff. And like I feel so happy when I can see that I am doing some, like changing kind of the way they live. So right now my designer, she was able to move alone, and she was able to, I want to pay her courses, so she learned new stuff, new things, and that makes me happy. So like I feel that I am the happiest when I can help someone to learn something, to learn about themselves, and like just grow, to see them flourish.
You're learning an important lesson, that care is the secret of power. Care and belonging is the secret of power. So I think that you kind of already know. If you didn't, then now in this conversation, it's becoming obvious to you. You enjoy providing income opportunities to young people. The other side of this is that who would be your customers? Who are the people that you would take care of and you promise to take care of, and that would pay you? So sketch out some map like this. Maybe at first make a map of few communities to say, maybe this community, maybe this community, maybe this community. Then bring those maps to your advisors, to your coaches, to your allies, to your friends, and discuss with them. Then once you have some early identification, go interview your customers. But when you send proposals, see, when you send a proposal, that's all about you and your agency, what you can do. Start by interviewing what their concerns are. I mean, we have several small business owners here. So you can ask small business owners, hey, can I talk to you about your business? Now tell me what business owner does not want to talk about their business. Start a conversation. Can we talk about your business? What difficulties you're facing? You've gotten a little bit of this training already, most likely being a lead agent and so on and so forth, right? It's time to bring that into your agency to create a little bit of a map of customer journey, interview your clients, learn about what their difficulties are, characterize their difficulties. One of the difficulties many businesses have, any startup, any small business, is that they don't get enough clients. I mean, we have that challenge in our own business too. It gets, of course, we are blessed and we're doing really well, but to grow, to scale any business, they want to serve more clients, serve more customers, and you can show up as an answer to prayers, and then make a commitment to grow the business, to deliver more clients, and fulfill your commitment. That's it. Run this engine. Listen to the difficulties, to the breakdowns, make an offer, fulfill the offer. Run this engine day in, day out. You're going to be a very young millionaire very quickly. But I know it's not the money that you're after. It's the dignity and the ability to make a difference for others. Financial power is an important power in the middle of this story. So think a little bit about what I have said, and then make a call with me later on and have some ideas to say, these are the people, this is the customer, I want to build it for this, I want to help startup gets more client, I want to help coffee growers. But one thing you must not do is run in 5 different directions simultaneously. If you do that, you're distracted. Now you're young, so you have energy. This energy will dissipate. So, and you don't want to, and there is no such thing as a time that you can only get to be powerful when you're a little bit older. That is a bad idea. Actually, age doesn't really matter. You can be powerful right now, right this year, right next year, within few months. So choose a direction, but don't do that same thing I was telling Najam earlier. Don't do that all by yourself in your head. Do that in conversations with others. Right now, I think your energies are a little bit all over the place. So whereas that will gain something, you will get exhausted if you aren't already. Are you a little bit exhausted already?
I don't know how I have energy to do so many things. I feel a little bit, some days I feel a little bit of burnout, but then it's like I just, as I told you when I met you, like I show up every day.
Yeah.
I show up.
Right. But it's, it's not good, right? That would burn you out. That might even trap you at some point in time. At some point in time, you may get so exhausted that you may say, you know what? I'm just tired of being burned out and I just want to like take this job or do this. That would limit your potential. So that's the risk that you have right now. As you're here, I sense a little bit of a fatigue and a burnout and exhaustion. So now, many of you that are here, that are starting their businesses, that have businesses, here is a young, brilliant marketer. So definitely chat, connect with each other. Okay. Is that good?
Yeah.
Is that good for now? Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. Big round of applause for Sylvia.
Mhm.
Okay, why don't we take, let's say it's 11:06 by my clock. Let's take 5 minutes. Come back. We have quite a treat prepared for you. We will do a little bit of more conversations, and then we have some other yummy stuff prepared for you. So I look forward to seeing each of you in 5 minutes. We're back. Thank you. Okay, let's return. Kiran, welcome.
Thank you.
Here is Leah. Hi,
Can you
Leah.
hear me now?
Yes, very well.
Yes.
You're clear. Greetings
Okay, I'm not
and
sure
welcome.
what happened. I kept getting muted.
Something technology malfunction. Damn computers. Okay, Leah. So Victoria, can we do a few more conversations
Yeah,
before
yeah,
we
yeah.
move
I
to
would
the
love
next
I would
part?
love to hear Leah share. She wants to go next, and maybe some
Okay.
other participants want to go next too. Later.
All right, Leah, you're on.
Okay, thanks. Sorry I missed a couple of your guys as I was trying to like connect better. So my story is I'm a meditation teacher slash coach. I work around the world and I own a business with my husband and he's a yoga instructor. So that kind of goes really well hand in hand. And what we've been doing is working at different studios around the world where we offer workshops and classes. And then we've been running a couple of retreats a year around the world. And then now we're involved in teacher trainings, like yoga teacher trainings, where I teach about the meditation. And I'm creating my first meditation teacher training this year. So I also work with a meditation app company, which is separate. It's not my company. They pay me a salary and I have a contract for 3 more years with them. But what I'm really hoping to do is create a really thriving business with my husband and I, so that when my contract's up with them, I have something of my own that I'm working on. And we've always envisioned having a sort of like retreat center somewhere in the world that's beautiful, that could also be a training school for meditation and yoga and workshops and light therapy and sound therapy, these kinds of things. So the challenges right now has a lot to do with the pandemic. So there's obviously challenges around travel. So we had to cancel a lot of trainings and retreats because people couldn't travel to us, or we just wouldn't work out. And so we've tried to pivot some things online, but my husband is really averse to doing things online. He's more about like face to face. And we also have a new baby, so that's like 1 year old. So that's created like, between the pandemic and the baby, there's not as much time and energy to put towards pivoting and creating a new online business. And then also just the aversion for him. So that said, like I noticed some of his online offerings aren't really resonating that well with people because they're more advanced. And with how the pandemic's affected yoga teachers, I don't think a lot of people want to get advanced level trainings that aren't necessary when they're struggling for work as it is. So there's that challenge. And then we normally live in Bali, but we have been traveling for 6 months out of suitcases because they haven't like really opened the doors for tourism again. So our dream was to live in Bali and do trainings and retreats there, and then live part-time in Portugal and start a retreat center in Portugal. But right now everything's just kind of up in the air. So what we need to do is find a place that's promising for yoga tourism or for people interested in yoga, that he can continue to do his trainings. Like maybe it's Mexico. We're just sort of brainstorming right now what's our plan B. And if we do find a space, that would be really wonderful to start that like retreat center business. We need to find investors, people who would believe in the project to work with. On the other hand, I also need to find someone that can assist me with digital marketing, because being a mom and trying to do it all by myself, it's really, really hard, especially since I don't have a nanny or babysitter most of the time, to put all the pieces together to create. Like I have courses and things that would be interesting to offer online, like a meditation school, but I need to find the support and help that can help me with that, because my husband doesn't really know how. So I need a person to help me, like either a freelancer or business partner for that. And I also need to find a place to settle that we could have our trainings work out. And then, and I think it's just finding the right people and the right connections to make this work. And I don't really know if there's a particular question there or a way to help with that, because it feels like this big conundrum right now. So that's where I'm at.
What a pleasure, Leah. What a pleasure.
Thanks. Pleasure to be here.
Leah and I have known each other since she was a young woman.
Yeah.
And I've seen you unfold and grow into a legend. No?
It
See
sounds like an
what
Australian legend. Legend.
So can we get serious with each other, or we don't
Yeah.
get serious with each other? First, well,
No, I like it.
let's solve the quick problem first. Only if there was a young social media person here. Oh, there it is. Sylvia. Connect with Leah. Take care of Leah. Leah is my dear friend. So connect with Leah and take care of Leah. Okay, that problem is solved. Let's see. Leah, you have millions of people that follow you. So when I say that you're already a legend, I am not just trying to increase your value or appreciate you. But what just happened when I said that? You took kind of an action. See, human being is the kind of animal that invents its worlds in language, verbal language, physical language, whatever language we live in this world of language. So you did an action to diminish your power. Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, question for you to say, why did I do that? The conundrum isn't about investors and plays and all of those things are easy. Really, they are. For someone that has millions of followers, your Instagram and the app and I have tried your meditations. You sent me many years ago your meditation course, and that was your first attempt, and it was remarkable. You're very good. You work really hard. You do your job. You have taken teacher after teacher. You're not just showing up as like, hey, I'm a meditation teacher, and no, you have done your homework. You have done your background. And you work damn hard in growing your identity. But the conundrum is that you're trapped a little bit in some kind of in order to conversation. In order to conversation. By the way, those that are ontological coaches here are most welcome to help me. Bonnie, Romy, Sonia, Luke, people that are coaches, you're most welcome to assist me. If there is something that you see that I don't see right this moment, please help my dear friends. So this, in order to do this, then I have to do this. In order to do this, I have to do this. So what is this trap, and what is the shape of this trap, and why are you trapped, and what are you doing? Because time passes, age passes. Energy is limited. Our time on earth is limited. You're meant to be a big eagle soaring high, and you are, and you do soar high. But every now and then you get perched on the side of a mountain, feeling sorry for yourself, going like, I wonder what it would be like to fly high while you do fly high. So there is something going on about that. Perhaps your dear husband has his own path, his own karma about his advanced training and what he has to do or doesn't have to do. Perhaps let him follow his path and karma. You two love each other. And sometimes the most loving thing to do is to let people find out what their true profession is. Where did you go?
Sorry, someone beeped in. Keep going.
So at the same time, your first responsibility, your first job is your own potential, your own legacy. And you're so ready for that. Everything is set up. Right background, right body, right mind, right face, right height, right age. Everything is right for you. But you keep getting trapped. What is that poem by Rumi? But you keep getting stuck at mean roadhouses. You keep taking long stays at mean roadhouses. You're going on an adventure. You know, sometime when we go on this big adventure, so then we stop somewhere to take rest and respite and have a little bit of a R&R. If we stay in that R&R for too long, we think that's it. Maybe this is my destiny, but that becomes a limited space. So you've gotten trapped in some kind of the conundrum is a very good word. You are in a conundrum, but the conundrum isn't about how to get the investor and the place and all of that stuff. Those are fixes.
Okay.
Those are in order to. If you say so today, hey, I'm a meditation teacher. I need money to create this, blah, blah, blah. You also have been thinking about coming back to United States right now. You're in Bali at the moment?
LA.
Oh,
LA
you are back in LA. Oh, wow. Have you left Bali or?
I mean,
are you visiting LA or have you moved back to LA?
Yeah, we're just visiting. We haven't been back to Bali in 6 months.
I see.
Because they have a 7-day quarantine right there, right now. So there's really no travelers going
so
there.
And you're in the right town. Or the right coast, or the left coast, actually. So there is something going on there, and there's a conversation we're not going to do right now. But I invite you to think a little bit about this and see what is provoked for you. Your first responsibility is the unfolding of your own legend. You have to stop negotiating other people's legends. It's not your job. Now, you are in the same business. I am in this business of helping people unfold their legends. You are in the same business. Your modality is different. Your way of being is different. Your orientation is different. Your clients might be different, people that connect with you. But that can only happen once you are unfettered, unhinged. Right now, you're hinged a little bit. So unhinge. And we're not asking you to stop loving your husband or anything like this. We're just asking you to get serious about your potential, your own life, your own career.
Yeah, it's been sort of enmeshed. And
it's been sort of enmeshed. So
he's really stuck right now. So I'm feeling really stuck right now as well.
Because you love him. Because you love him. Because you love him. So when we love people so much, we wish we can, I speak for myself. I am not really talking about you. I am really talking about myself. And by that, you may get something out. Sometime when we see people stuck, we wish we can chop our left arm and cut our heart out and put it on a platter and give it to them, that if they eat a little bit of the heart, then they may get unstuck. But it's not our damn job. Now, it is our job to produce the environment in which people can get unstuck for themselves. But people have their own background, their own histories. We can call it karma in the New Age language, or their own situations and trajectories of where they have come and how they have come. So does that help? Is that good for now? Okay.
I needed to hear that. Thank you, Saki.
And schedule a call with me. I am missing our conversation anyways. So think a little bit what this provoked for you. And part of this, I think, is a private conversation that we should definitely do.
Okay, thank you.
For those that don't know Leah Santa Cruz, get to know Leah Santa Cruz. Follow her on Instagram. She is remarkable. Follow her meditations. She's a treasure. And see if you want to talk to Sylvia about your social media marketing. That's the easiest part. I also have really good social media marketers, but they're mine. But you can have Sylvia though. Okay, big round of applause for Leah. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Leah. Okay. I want to hear a little bit from Seaton, if Seaton is in the mood to speak. Seaton, do you wanna say a little bit what brought you here, and any chance we see you on the camera too?
Let me go to another room. Yeah, thanks for putting this on. It's very interesting. I think we met back in 2012, so I was just curious what you're up to. So you got an invite in my inbox, which is overflowing, and I decided to follow through and check it out.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. You know, since we saw each other in 2012, just very brief history, you know, I ran an incubator for startups, and you were running an incubator. So out of that connection, I think I connected with you. I met you when I was just about to close my incubator. I was doing really good in revenue. It was third year of me running the incubator. I had done $500,000 first year, 1.1 next, 1.5 the next year. But what I noticed that most of the startups that we were building, they were not succeeding in the marketplace. Our revenue was going up, but the startups were not succeeding. I talked to a bunch of my VC friends and they all said, well, that's just how it is. 90% of the startups fail. You know, before Louis Pasteur invented vaccinations, there was normal that 80% of the cows died. That's just how it is. That waste rate, that rate of failure in entrepreneurs was unacceptable to me. Many very emotional things happened. One of the entrepreneurs had invested all of his money into his startup. The startup failed, and he showed up to my incubator right there in Lower Queen Anne, holding a blade to his nerves, like, I'll cut myself, I'll kill myself because my product is. So I asked myself, why entrepreneurs have to come to this kind of a desperate place? What is that they were missing? That guy, lean startup guy, Eric Ries, was in town. So I paid like big ticket and got in a VIP situation with him where I asked him, I said, you know, you talk all about this startup accounting and pivots and all of that. I have a question. How do you know what to pivot to? And he saw my face like he had hoped nobody ever asked him that question. He says, well, look at your previous experiments and see what you have learned and everything. And I said, what if everything you've experimented with has failed? What do you pivot to? And he didn't have the answer. And it was at that time, it became clear to me that if I am to continue with my commitment to entrepreneurs, I must do something different. So the last 6-7 years, I have gone to very seriously study with people such as Fernando Flores, Chauncey Bell, James McManus, many other people, Roberto Mangabeira Unger. And I have been challenging myself with this goal, with this aim of how to explore entrepreneurial potential so no entrepreneur fails, no startup fails. I have created now, this course will say a little bit more about that, but I thought I'll close the gap with you. So that's what I'm doing now. My mission hasn't changed, but I think just raising a big VC fund and keep pouring a little bit money in lots of entrepreneurs, to me, it sounded like a mind of a gambler. We're trying to find the right slot machine. And when the right slot machine is found, then we'll double down. That became for me an activity I was not willing to do. So I said that every single entrepreneur could succeed, but what would be that ground where people that succeed, how is it that they succeed? So this is where I am, just a quick. So now I want to hear from you. What are you doing? What are you up to? What has happened and what brought you here, please?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And I don't want to take too much time. I could talk forever on this subject, but entrepreneurs generally, I think, fail because they're chasing the wrong rainbow. They're out to pursue a big pot of gold. They're trying to become a unicorn. They're trying to raise capital. They're trying to sell their business to investors for a return on investment. And they put PowerPoints together and they go on the dog and pony show and they spend their life chasing after somebody that will believe in them enough to put cash into their bank. And what the problem I see is that they're spending their time focusing on the investment model as opposed to the product customer experience. If they were just to focus on taking care of the customer, the ones that are immediately available to them, and having happy customers, they should be able to find a profit model that can be self-sustaining. And if you get to a self-sustaining position, you're no longer desperate for an investment to stay alive.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Right on, spot on. So what are you doing now, Seaton? What are you up to? And if you have a question, bring us a bone to gnaw on. What would, what would
Okay, I'll be real brief, but I started Surf Incubator in 2009 because in the heart of downtown Seattle, and we've grown organically. I've never taken an investor other than debt. I've never sold a share, never tried to sell a share, never put a PowerPoint together to sell a share. And I grew it month over month, year over year, till the point where we ended up with 22,000 square feet in downtown Seattle. And we were going to probably make a profit of $500,000 in 2020, but COVID kind of put an end to that idea. No employees, just my wife and I, running 22,000 square feet with 160, 180 people on the floor, hosting about 300 to 500 events a year. And we were doing really well. And then the business went poof. So it's sitting idle. There's a few people that still go in there. We're just waiting for COVID to clear and rebuild the business. But I took a business from scratch to probably a $5 million valuation. Conservatively, maybe more, could have been bigger, could have been a WeWork, could have been a player in that realm. But I just took a casual route and was self-sufficient throughout the whole period. So now we're sitting there idle. And I said, well, I'm going to take a sabbatical with COVID. And I moved out of town. I moved up to Swim, which is 2 hours away. And I bought a house, a retirement home. This view is from our house, actually. And I've been working on my own project because I don't have to support all the other projects. So some of you may very well be interested in this project. It's helping refugees find quality information on the web using their own language. And oftentimes refugees land in a country where they may be very sophisticated in their own country, but suddenly they're back to ground zero because they don't have the language. So linguistic constraints are a real problem to find local information in the local language because they don't have the local language. So they become more dependent than they ever would be in the past. And all of a sudden that's very demoralizing. So what we want to do is provide a way that they can find the quality information very easily using intuitive process and their own language.
I see. Very good. What a blessed mission. Thank you for taking that on. Thank you for taking that on.
Yeah, you're welcome. There's 80 million refugees right now from all over the world.
Wow. Wow. Well, we are a nation of refugees, aren't we?
Yes, indeed.
The original people are not doing so good. Even the original people themselves may have been refugees many thousand years ago.
Yeah.
So I have but one tiny recommendation for you to consider. It's not tiny in its depth, but I'll just keep it short and small if you would like to hear it.
Sure.
So I would, information game, it may be that you are in the coordination game and not the information game. You believe that you're in the information game. Now, information is accessible. Information has become ubiquitous. But you may have a faster uptick in your business if you consider what is coordination and what is information. Now, information is required and people speaking local language and everything, but you have been a connector all your life. You have connected important people to each other. I believe that if you, now I'm not saying that you're not doing that. I don't know enough and I want to hear more. You have piqued my curiosity and I want to hear more, so I'm being a little bit presumptuous. Please forgive me. But I get very concerned when I hear entrepreneurs believing that job might be is the organization of information. I believe that's a misdirection. And you're welcome to fight with me. Maybe not right now, maybe later on.
I will give you feedback. Yes.
Maybe I'll be, machines give feedback. I'd be happy to hear an opinion.
Well, just to be very simple, very quickly, it's an agnostic platform. We're not producing the content. We're not producing the information. We're not even producing the pathways. It's a platform upon which anybody can contribute and build a unique, personalized pathway for their loved ones.
Sure. It's very good. And in a sense that you already are in a coordination business.
Definitely.
So maybe let me assert that you are not in an information business. You're in a coordination business. If you don't see that clearly, then I think that you have the risk of leaving money on the table. And I don't say these things lightly. I have quite a deep background about this. So you're welcome to, I offer you a conversation with me later on, and I can say more about that. I believe that if you took on that we are in the refugee coordination business, that includes getting them the right information, but not just the information. That is a limited business. You are a big guy with big capacity. I don't mean physically, I mean your stature in the Seattle community. You're one of the leaders in the startup community. You're one of the pioneers of creating this environment that is Seattle innovation, startup environment and everything. So your capacity has been to connecting the dots. That process is a coordination, fielding requests, becoming a helpline.
Exactly.
Showing up, even just showing up to those refugees when no one else is showing up. Okay, I think, is that good for now? Is that enough of a start of a fight? Can we start a fight when we?
I'd love everybody's input. I'm putting a team together. This has been a long-term project. It actually predates SURF. I've been working on it for 16 years.
Wow.
Yeah, and I put it on the back burner because SURF Incubator took all my time. So
I see. So now it's the time to.
Yeah, and now I can work on my own project.
Okay.
Yay!
I love that.
Awesome year.
Very good. Very good.
And I wanted to point out something that the conversation that I've heard so far. I want to, if I may, contribute a little bit.
Please.
I think one of the things that I would suggest is that if people could take the time to literally go on a retreat, a mental retreat, you don't have to leave your house, but go on a mental retreat where you're going to sit there for a couple hours and say, what is it that really lights my fire? What makes me want to get up in the morning? What is it that really inspires me? Where are my skill sets that I can do something right now with what I have, with who I know, and how I can do that? And if you find that little kernel of something that really gets you going, build on it, and you'll be surprised how it can become something really, really big. That's all I have to say.
Blessed words by Seton Grass. Please, big round of applause.
Thank you all.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us. What a pleasure. Okay, Victoria, how are we doing? Can we take, is there someone else wanting to go? Kiran, do you want to?
I think one last person is
okay.
Yeah, good to hear from you, Sakib. It's been a while.
Kiran, you're a stone wall. There you are.
I'd like to introduce myself as one of the failed, wasted entrepreneurial.
Kiran, one quick moment, please. I think that your camera is pointing in the other direction. Maybe you want to point it towards yourself.
You might.
It's reversed and it's showing us.
No.
I don't know what it is showing us.
It's showing us my blank screen.
Your blank screen. That's right.
That's right. I'll go anonymous.
Let us see you. I want to see you. So let us turn your camera on and let us see you for a moment, huh? I haven't seen you for at least like 10 years, maybe. Almost.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Okay, if camera not available, no problem. Let us hear from you then.
Yeah, I wanted to say that we know each other through being part of your waste rate of failed startups. That you worked with me and
Yeah.
Rob long ago, and
Yeah.
while the startup didn't work, the experience working with you was valuable. I am looking at your message saying, how do we reinvent our careers for 2022? And I find myself at the end of 2021 in a position of finally acknowledging that I am deeply respected within my own industry. I'm adequately rewarded financially and incredibly dissatisfied. So a couple questions I have, or thoughts I have about dissatisfaction. One, and Seaton set me up for this one. A fight that is what inspires me. He says, what inspires you? A battle, a fight inspires me. But the conundrum is, I'm tired of fighting. So I'm looking at reinventing a career where I have less adversarial interactions, less stress. But I wonder, I'm 67, I wonder if all of this time living under that stress, will I be satisfied if I could actually drop it? What if I was successful in reducing stress? After, have I inculcated myself to stress? That's one thing that popped into my mind while you're talking. And then you were speaking to AZ and Najib about, well, legacy was what you were talking about, but I heard, what is the dragon you really need to slay? Not just the small battles, but what's the meaningful fight?
Yes.
And I can vision in my industry a meaningful fight, but I don't see it as contributing to the needs of the world. So I'm trying to balance those two. It's a big monster, it needs slaying. And to those folks who don't know me, it's the commercial construction industry. It's a very dysfunctional, there's lots of room for improvement, but I struggle with, what is it that I'm improving? Where am I benefiting more than my industry? I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, thank you, Kieran, for posting the question. Big question. There is a commercial construction industry in the United States is in a great deal of trouble. There's a lot of waste happening in construction right now. Whereas you see some of these videos made by the Chinese, and within boom, the bridges and buildings, they go up like crazy, huh? Angelique, like that, right? So I think that maybe consider orienting your career towards eliminating waste from construction projects. A lot of the waste is not just the waste of materials and everything, but the waste in coordination. When we are coordinating with each other, we are working in bad moods. We're working with the lack of commitment. We're working with the lack of the ability to be dynamic and agile. When the breakdowns occur, those breakdowns, they drag the projects down and they lead to a great deal of failure. So think a little bit about that. Also, to give you gave few big signals. I won't go further. We are approaching the end of our time here together. But the guy that I believe you must speak to, and I can make an introduction, is Chauncey Bell. He has dedicated his career to eliminating waste from construction projects. So by working with Chauncey, you might see something new about the next steps in your career. And I'll be happy to speak with you more, and I'll be happy to put you in touch. Why don't you, we are going to send a note, I believe. Yes, Victoria, we're going to send a note to everybody after the meeting on how to set up a meeting with me if need be. So set up a meeting with me, Kiran, and I want to listen to you a little bit more. But about this, I think that I may have a small treasure of a kind for you. I ran a company, Harvester Academy, for a while, which was about helping people in construction, particularly, and many other industries reinvent their construction practices. I can also put you in touch with another friend named Connor Butler, who runs a company. You might want to look up Connor Butler. He runs a company that eliminate waste from construction projects. You may find working with Connor interesting. So I'll be delighted to make some introductions and speak with you first and see if we can help you reorient your career. But there are possibilities. The game is not hopeless. For the fact that you're posting the question, there is a possibility.
Thank you, Sakib. I actually think I did speak to Chauncey many years ago, but I would love to have a reintroduction.
That's right. And maybe actually introduction to Connor might be also in order, where it might require you learning a new approach to coordination, a new approach to building moods. There, I can help you. I'll be delighted to help you by learning new skills about coordination and more construction specific. My current focus is not construction, but many of the things that I navigate with, they're very applicable and helpful. And then I'll be delighted to put you in touch with people that might help you maybe even get a new consulting gig or something like this, and learning of a new approach about how to manage construction projects.
Wonderful. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Very good. With pleasure. I look forward to it. Big round of applause for Kiran, please. Okay. Time is now 11:48. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of you. So for those that I couldn't get to, make a private meeting with me, and I'll be delighted to speak with you. What's next, Victoria?
Let's begin wrapping up and introduce the power course.
Little louder, please. With a
I said let's begin wrapping up and introduce the power course.
Okay, so how are we doing that? Would you like me to introduce?
Yeah, you begin and then I'll finish.
Okay, I see. All right, so we have in everything that we have done, we have created a course. Let me tell you a little bit about this course. Let's actually start the conversation with the struggle of life, exactly where Kiran was. The real struggle of life is not knowing what to do with life. Now, I have seen great successes and great failures, and I've learned from both. For my own development, I have pursued every author, every master, every teacher that I found worth pursuing. And I was lucky enough to be born to the household of a legendary father, Mia Faz Rasool, who was in construction and built the third largest city of Pakistan. He was one of the 3 or 4 guys that built the third largest city, Faisalabad of Pakistan, who taught me my first set of lessons about power. Then I met great mentors like James McManus, Fernando Flores, Roberto Mengebera Unger, S.N. Goenka, and Chauncey Bell, who taught me skills for history making. Today, my ambition is to enable every change maker whose heart beats for bringing new innovations and doing deeply meaningful work. I am committed to helping change makers succeed in important missions by provoking excellence in themselves and their teams. I've helped hundreds of people in enterprises and ambitious entrepreneurs, such as yourselves, in developing new identities, new companies, and new career paths. I have been doing this work in one-on-one relationships, and a couple of years ago, felt the need to formalize my work. You see, the skills for everyday life are very different from the skills that are required for building a future. So to help you map a new path to the future, to reinvent yourself, to reshape your sensibilities about power, everything that I have learned, I have boiled it down into 12 sets of skills and sensibilities that I call superpowers because they work like such. The Power Course is a course in transformative entrepreneurship. Now, in this course, I help you set major career, business, and personal goals and realize them by learning these 12 superpowers, these skills and sensibilities for action in a 12 months program. Now, I have invited a couple of people here that are in this course with me. So I want to invite these couple of people. They have not been prepared on what to say and how to say. So really speak in a way. I'm going to invite Luke first, speak in a way so others can really get the taste of what is it that you have gotten and what is it that you're learning and what benefits you have gotten. So in the way the opportunity for participation also become available. Could we start with you, Luke, first?
Absolutely.
Yeah, please.
I'll start a little bit with my story. I'm here in Alaska, which in the United States feels like the middle of nowhere, surrounded currently by winter, which seems to evaporate a whole bunch more opportunities. I kind of joke that I took the path paralleling Jesus, where I started out as a carpenter, spent about 10 years as a professional minister, and then my spiritual path led me to being at odds with the people who led my spiritual tradition. Thankfully, the parallel ended with the murder at the end of his life. So far, I've avoided being murdered. But kind of at the end of 10 years of spiritual leadership and working in nonprofit world, I found myself kind of at a loss of what to do with my career. And I was exploring what it looked like to be a financial consultant, financial manager for businesses, for startups and individuals, and really came to the realization that I was kind of doing it in a mercenary context, just because I needed something to do, needed something to make money. And so when Saqib started the Power Course, I thought, well, this is exactly what I need to get my life on track, my career on track. And I didn't know it at the time, but I needed something to care about. And over the past several months, it's gone through a lot of what Saqib calls surgery, where I'm learning that I've been trapped in ways that I didn't even know I was trapped. And trapped in these victimhoods that I had no concept that I was living as a victim of my environment and of things that were happening to me. And over the course of the last several months, he's been revealing those areas to me and giving me these tools to move past them. And where I'm currently is we're working on putting together a fund, an investment fund. And I've been in real estate investing for since I was a kid, really. But turning that into the vehicle that I can build offers out of to offer to other people. And really the people I'm growing to care deeply about are people who feel like they've been left behind, people who have been left behind financially. The paradox here is that we live in a world that is so full of abundance. And there's this pervasive perception among countless people that I interact with that the abundance that seems to be available to everybody else is just out of my reach. And it's so widely, it's such a widely held perception. And as I've gotten into that perception within my own life, I realize that I'm doing better financially than 85% of other people in my age group. I have felt left behind, even though I'm doing really well. And it's funny, like Najib, you kind of brought up that same idea. Like, I feel like my life isn't going anywhere, when really you're doing an amazing job, an amazing life. And in finances, I'm currently putting together a fund to help people get involved into greater financial power. And Saqib and I are exploring what it might look like to put together an investment bank for everyday people.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Luke. Thank you for the testimonial. Very nice. Well done. Big round of applause. Good job. Good work. Okay, let us hear from, let us go to Habib, please. Habib, what have you gotten out of the Power Course? Who you are, say a little bit where you are, who you are, and what have you gotten from the Power Course?
So my name is Habib. I live in Germany, and so before coming to Power Course, I was lost. I am a software engineer by profession, and I was in technology for like 8 years. And I didn't know what to do with my career. I was also involved in a startup, but I didn't have any meaning in my life, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that brought me to Saqib, to the power course. And then slowly and gradually, I started learning what is power, what is care, where I am trapped, how I am victimized. So completely new worlds were open to me through this power course, which I could not imagine. And for the first time, I feel that I have a meaning in my life. I have found my people, I have found my care. And basically, I was running away from technology. Technology is the place where innovation takes place. Technology is the driving force in the world. And I was resigned. I thought, I'm not a good software engineer. But today I think I have found back my place, my people, and I know that where I'm going, and I'm very much thankful to Saqib and to the community he introduced me to. It is the power of community, and we meet weekly, and it is an awesome place to be. Financially, I doubled my power, so I promoted. I got to a new company. And
doubled your salary to be
I
be exact. Doubled your salary, huh? And that's not because you learned something new technically. You learned something about power.
Yes. I can really relate to the people who are talking here that it is not the skills or the technicality. It is the way of our being. It is how we are in the world. When we change that way of being, things suddenly start changing around us. So I'm really lucky to be part of this community. And now in future, I'm more involved with human machine design, how technology changes the way we are. And I want to be a voice in the field of technology, where there are many dangers of technology, where people could really become victims of technology. And I want to be a voice there and use that in the right way, rather than just hijack human beings in our future. So thank you.
Very good. Very good. Big round of applause for Habib, please. Very nice. Very good.
That's
okay. One more, just very briefly. Let's hear from. We hear from two. I want to have a little bit diversity. So let's hear from Amy, please. Amy, you recently joined. Now both Luke and Habib have been studying with me for almost 7 months, 8 months. Amy joined a couple of months ago. So Amy, say who you are, your short background, and what have you gotten from the power course?
Yes, so I am new. So I think I'm still struggling with a lot of the issues that were brought up here, but now I have direction. So I started last year. In my career was probably one of the worst years for me. I woke up wildly unhappy every single day and completely not understanding why.
Just a quick background. You have a doctorate in sociology. So see the way we open, say a little bit. So set yourself up so people can listen.
Let me introduce myself. That's true. Yes. So I am Amy Grogli. I'm currently based in Santa Cruz, California. So very close to AZ. Before coming here, I've been here for about 7 years. Before here, I was in Mexico City, 7 years. I did my doctorate research there, studying the intersection of urban development and gender inequality. So specifically, public violence against women. How can we redesign streets, transportation to make it safer? That was satisfying, but I felt like I'm constantly searching for the next thing. I came, academia wasn't my scene, so I came up to Silicon Valley and started working with startups and tech companies, doing very similar work, helping them identify issues that were wrong in the company, places where they were struggling with their customers, and just helping them make connections between what they were missing. But I did that working for another company. And over the last year, I found myself taking a really strong role in that company, wanting to put more care into the clients, wanting to sort of have them as my own, but not really given that power within the company. And I slowly became incredibly, I don't know if it's disenfranchised from the process or just felt like I was being a leader, but I couldn't really have the power of a leader. And it was incredibly frustrating. So I actually had met Saqib in an interview that I was doing for one of my customers, and he told me about this power course. And like 6 or so months later, I circled back and I said, I think I need this. I am struggling, I'm sinking, and I need a lifeline, and this feels right. The first struggle was my work. Like why do I feel like I'm doing everything, but I have no power or say in anything we do? And within a month of the power course, that changed dramatically. And it was completely my way of being. It was me shifting the way I brought myself into the workplace. So within a month, I was promoted to vice president of the company. I was given a 25% pay raise, and quickly things started restructuring. So clearly, like I was being not the best. I had limited my power within the company. But even then, like I'm on month 2 and going into month 3, and I still find that very unsatisfying work. And I think part of it is because I don't know who I'm caring for in this. This is somebody's telling me to care about somebody else, and it's I'm like, I don't get it.
The journey has begun. The journey has begun.
The journey has begun.
The journey has begun. Very good. Thank you, Amy. Very nice. Well done. Well done. Now, I think we are 3 minutes over, so let's begin to close. I have a lovely poem for you that I'd like to read to you that we chose yesterday. It's a Rumi's poem. Now, we have shared our information. I think Maria has shared. If you want to get in touch, you want to learn more about the power course, if you would like to participate or join, and you want to know what that looks like and how much and the time commitment and all of that stuff, we would be happy to share those details with you. Get in touch with Maria or Victoria or myself, and would be delighted to tell you more. If you would like an hour of a free strategy around your career, around your business, around your startup, we will share a link with you in a follow-up email. We will also have a gift for you that we will share via email. I think that was Victoria's, yours to offer, but here it is.
Okay.
What are we doing, Victoria? Am I reading a poem, or is this something that you need to say?
No,
here?
you covered it all. We're gonna send all of you a follow-up email with a gift and a way to contact us if you are interested in learning more about the power course and talking to Saqib.
Very good. Now, before I read this poem, I want to make a note that many religious references that are made in this poem, they're just metaphors, okay? This is not a religious discourse. They're just metaphors. You can replace them with other metaphors that you like. You may like or don't like the metaphors. The poem by a poet that I am in love with, Rumi. And this is a book called The Essential Rumi by an American author, Coleman Barks, who transliterated Rumi here. So all these, don't let these religious metaphors grip you, but replace them with your own metaphors and see what makes sense to you. So the poem is called Jesus on a Lean Donkey. Jesus on a Lean Donkey. Jesus on the lean donkey. This is an emblem of how the rational intellect should control the animal soul. Jesus on the lean donkey. This is an emblem of how the rational intellect should control the animal soul. Let your spirit be strong like Jesus. If that part becomes weak, then the worn out donkey grows to a dragon. Be grateful when what seems unkind comes from a wise person. Once a holy man riding his donkey saw a snake crawling into the sleeping man's mouth. He hurried, but he couldn't prevent it. He hit the man several blows with his club. The man woke terrified and ran beneath an apple tree with many rotten apples on the ground. Eat, you miserable wretch, eat. Why are you doing this to me? Eat more, you fool. I've never seen you before. Who are you? Do you have some inner quarrel with my soul? The wise man kept forcing him to eat, and then he ran him. For hours, he whipped the poor man and made him run. Finally, at nightfall, full of rotten apples, fatigued, bleeding, he fell and vomited everything, the good and the bad, the apples and the snake. When he saw that ugly snake come out of himself, he fell on his knees before his assailant. Are you Gabriel? Are you God? I bless the moment you first noticed me. I was dead and didn't know it. You have given me a new life. Everything I have said to you was stupid. I didn't know. If I had explained what I was doing, now the holy man says, if I had explained what I was doing, you might have panicked and died of fear. Muhammad said, if I described the enemy that lives inside men, even the most courageous would be paralyzed. No one would go out or do any work. No one would pray or fast, and all power to change would fade from the human beings. So I kept quiet while I was beating you, that, like David, I might shape iron, so that, impossibly, I might put feathers back into the bird's wing. God's silence is necessary because of the humankind's faint-heartedness. If I had told you about the snake, you wouldn't have been able to eat. And if you hadn't eaten, you wouldn't have vomited. I saw your condition and drove my donkey hard into the middle of it, saying always under my breath, Lord, make it easy on him. I wasn't permitted to tell you, and I wasn't permitted to stop beating you. The healed man still kneeling. I have no way to thank you for the quickness of your wisdom and the strength of your guidance. God will thank you. That is it. So much blessing and pleasure to all of you. Thank you for joining, and I look forward to the next time when each of us will speak. With pleasure.
Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Saqib, I sent a